Hi everyone, what's up and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Nikita Tanwani, former Femina Miss India state finalist in 2019 and now I'm a model in NYC and a pageant coach as well. And this year was my first time going for castings for shows in New York Fashion Week 2024 that has already begun as I'm filming this video. And as a model who's new to New York City, I've had my own fair share of challenges understanding the industry, navigating through modeling agencies, castings, open calls, and you know the drill. And I'm so happy to share with you that I was able to book 4 fashion shows at my very first time at New York Fashion Week. And today in this video, I'm going to spill all of the secrets as usual and tell you what exactly I did to get 4 shows at my very first season and how you can make it happen too. So I've been posting on my social medias about going to fittings, going to castings, and just a bunch of stuff related to New York Fashion Week. And I get so many questions from all of you asking, how have you really figured this out? And some of you who have also moved to the US, just like me, in the last 1 year and are new to this industry, new to the country. I know it can be so overwhelming, and which is why I want to share all of the information that I've had so far and what helped me. Let's walk through the process step by step. The number one thing that you will face as a model who wants to walk in one of the shows at New York Fashion Week is show up for castings. What a casting is basically like an audition for a fashion show where there can be one designer or sometimes multiple designers. These castings are held by designers themselves and sometimes media houses as well, who are overseeing a bunch of designers and they're showcasing their designs and their collections through their media production company, such as Runway 7, which is one of the most popular and the biggest casting that I went to recently. As a new model in New York City, I thought I was the only one who had absolutely no clue as to how to really figure out where do you find out these castings are happening. How does someone tell me? I'm not a signed model yet. That is, I'm not an exclusively signed model with any agency so far that would send me to castings for Runway. I will speak about what contracts I have with 2 agencies here in New York City. If you want me to go into deeper details about that in another video, let me know in the comment section below if you want me to talk about that. But as a new model in the city with no agent guiding her, the first thing that I did was I followed the hashtag NYFW as well as the hashtag NYFW castings on Instagram, because that's where all the creative people are. That's where photographers, designers, makeup artists, and just randomly kind people are having broadcast channels and groups where they post about it, and it automatically starts showing up in your feed as well. Which brings me to the second thing you should do, which is look for NYFW castings, just a simple search term in the Instagram search box. And this is the platform I'm recommending because I used Instagram. You could also use TikTok. I'm sure there's a lot of information there as well. I'm still learning TikTok and getting used to opening the app because I did not have it just last year. So TikTok is also a really educational app if you want to see what's happening around you in the city. And you could also be on Snapchat. I'm personally not on Snapchat, so I'm not sure if that platform has any of these castings. Facebook also has a lot of them. And so make sure that you're signed up everywhere where you could possibly be informed. And that's just the first step that you have to put in the effort to keep yourself in the network and keep yourself in the circle unless you're professionally signed and anyway getting notified because someone's making the effort to pull you into the game. As a freelancer, you have to show up, you have to make your way through the crowd and try to be hungry for every opportunity that's out there. So you followed the hashtags and you also joined the broadcast channels, which by the way, every single day in the morning, they would post all of the castings that were there that day. As a model, you have to be up and running on your feet. If you find out at 10 a.m. there's a casting at noon, you better show up there. But besides these 2 options, you also have online model management casting platforms, which are so handy. Some of these are Casting Network, Backstage.com, Model Management, New Book, and there are so many others. Sign up for as many of these as possible. If you're an actor, you should also be on actorsaccess.com and have a profile there. Make sure you uploaded your latest digitals and your latest portfolio pictures As for castings, you are going to require relevant material. If it's for a runway, you need to have a walk video. And these platforms help you get notified of castings and auditions and just so many other projects that you can get your hands on, even outside of New York Fashion Week season. So make sure that you have signed up all of these platforms. Some of them are free, some of them are paid, and you can upgrade to the premium version. But it's not that big of a cost, trust me, because you can make the money back by just booking one project off of these platforms. Now, the next step that you're going to do as a model trying for New York Fashion Week is get your latest digitals shot and also have a comp card. Now, this is what my comp card looks like. It's a 4x6 card with my headshot on the front, the name Nikita, and you don't have to write your full name. And on the back, I have my digitals. And so I have a close-up shot, a mid shot, a side profile smiling shot, and I've intentionally included a smiling shot in my comp card because I want to be able to book a lot of print and commercial jobs as well. I see myself going for lifestyle, and so having a smiling face kind of helps because I'm not looking for just runway or editorial where you kind of have to have that poker mean face attitude. We can do that. And so I show my versatility through my headshot that I can give you expressions like that as well. But I also have a beautiful smile, which I want commercial brands to see so that they can book me for jobs like that. And then we have our full length. And on the middle, I have put in my details such as my height, my hair color, eye color, bust, waist, hips, shoe size in US, very standard. And on the bottom, because I'm a freelance model, I will put my email as well as my social media handle. What I noticed in castings across New York Fashion Week season this week is that a lot of the Google forms that we were supposed to fill out in order to check in at places or register for casting were always asking our social media handles. And while some models do feel that it's unfair to need to have a public social media profile, or they think that a lot of castings are looking for models with higher number of followers, I feel like I have a decent number of followers, but that didn't mean that I booked every single casting. It's not just your Instagram that's going to help you, but having a public profile also helps because this is in a way you giving out your business card when you're out there auditioning. And even if you don't book that show, it can just lead to other opportunities. Maybe a casting director sitting in that room just happened to, his eyes landed on your picture and he thinks that, oh, I think she would be great for this other project, which is not even a part of New York Fashion Week. And this is just your business card lying around. So you would want your contact details, your email being a safe option because you don't want your phone number lying around, especially when you're a freelance model, and also your public social media profiles, because when they get to go there, they get to see so much more about me than just my digitals and my headshot. There is so much more to me. And even though they don't have my walk video, they could just head over to my social media where they could probably see a few videos of me walking or how I pose and behind the set scenes and other portfolio pictures of mine. And so it's just a really handy thing. So make sure that you get a nicely printed comp card. Shoot your digitals. I did get recent professionally shot digitals for this week's New York Fashion Week. My old digitals were also something I used in castings earlier in January, but as soon as I got new digitals, I updated my comp card. So this is something you need to do every 3 months. Once you have your comp card and your digitals ready, that's something that you have to put into your model bag. I got around 25 to 30 copies of all of these comp cards, and I've been handing out all of these comp cards at castings whenever I go. And some castings that have multiple designers are going to ask you to carry multiple physical copies of your comp card. Also make sure you have a soft copy on your phone or tablet, because sometimes they can ask you to just email them your comp card as well. A lot of the castings, by the way, are virtual, and so you have to be quick with it. As soon as you get the link, make sure that you fill out the form. I remember my experience where I was standing at a traffic signal one day, and a photographer that I know here sent me this link for a casting for Flying Solo. You can look them up on social media. And I actually worked with Flying Solo for my Harper's Bazaar shoot, and that's where a lot of the garments had come from. They are basically a fashion boutique with multiple designers and their garments. And I filled out that form standing at that traffic signal itself because I had my digitals, I had my comp card, I had all of my links, my experience written down, And so it was just a matter of copy paste to quickly fill out that form. Why I mention this and emphasize on filling it out and doing it in the now is because a lot of models are going to look at that link and probably think, okay, I'm going to fill it out once I get home in the evening. But you also have to remember some of these castings are done through the form first, where you get selected, and only if you're selected do you get to know the location and the time at which you have to show up for your individual casting. And so those things can take a little time. And so if you fill it out too late, it's possible that they never see your application. And even if you could get shortlisted, you probably didn't even get to know the location and the time because you didn't fill the form in time. And that also happened to me personally, because I just filled out a form too late one night before the casting and I never heard back from them. And that's one of the big castings that I missed out on, and hopefully I'll be able to fill the form in time and go to their castings for New York Fashion Week in September. I'm sharing these experiences with you because as a first-time model, casting for New York Fashion Week, I've had my ups and my downs. There are wins and there are losses. Overall, I am happy, but there are so many things that I know I can do better and improve on as well. Now, besides shooting your digitals and having your comp card ready, also make sure that you have filmed your walk video and uploaded it on an Instagram or YouTube, wherever you want. And you always have that vertically shot video accessible to be shared as a link, because most castings and designers are not wanting a downloadable file. So make sure that it's hosted on a platform where you can just go and share the link. If you are uncomfortable posting your walk video on your social media page, you can always go over to a personal private YouTube channel where you have that video unlisted, and so nobody else is gonna see that but you and the designers that you send it to. From my personal experience, I can tell you that I shot a total of 3 walk videos, because every 2-3 days I personally felt that my walk was getting better and better, and I did not want to submit a walk video that was shot a week ago. But because I was going to so many castings and just learning and absorbing so much new information and learning different kinds of walks and different techniques by watching other models, I wanted to be able to incorporate my freshest learnings into my walk video. And so I shot it 3 times in a matter of 10 days. And whenever I was filling out a form and they asked for a walk video or an email that I had to send out in order to get selected for the casting, I made sure that I used my latest walk video. So that's also an additional effort that you have to put into to make sure that you're giving your best and putting your best foot forward, quite literally, when you are applying for castings, whether in person or virtual. Now you have your things ready and you're off to castings. The next thing you have to do is make your model bag and just keep it ready, because you're going to be running around the city a lot. A couple of things that I always kept in my model bag was a black pair of heels. Make sure that you carry stilettos, and it can be boots, something that is super comfortable and fits your foot really well and you can walk in it really well. And all of the walk videos that I was shooting in the same pair of heels. Those are my casting heels. And make sure that you invest in a nice quality pair so that it doesn't affect your performance, because the heel is the issue. Besides my shoes, I also kept a lot of comp cards handy in my bag. You keep a lot of comp cards in an envelope, and you also carry a pen, because sometimes they want you to write your phone number on the comp card that you're handing to them. So it helps to have a pen handy, because you don't necessarily find a pen when you want it at castings. And I also carried a snack bag with me, because you might be running around and be missing meals a lot. But with New York Fashion Week, or just any fashion week coming soon, you want to make sure that you are hydrated, that you are not low on energy. Carry band-aids, because you might be getting shoe bites by running around in high heels for a really long time. Carry painkillers with you, any medicines, just keeping yourself prepped for any situation, because as a model, you cannot afford to fall sick or injure yourself right now. Another thing that I kept in mind is that during castings, a lot of the times you have to leave your bag unattended. So make sure that you don't carry any unnecessary valuable items when you're going for castings. One of the standard dress codes for castings is to be in an all black outfit. And after a couple of castings, I did realize that I was kind of running out of black outfits, because there are only so many black tank tops and leggings and jeans that I have. And so make sure that you have quite a few black outfits on hand. I prefer unitards personally, because what I realized is the proportions of your body look very different depending on whether you're wearing a crop top or a unitard or a bodysuit. And so understand your body and you can dress accordingly. Even though the dress code says all black, it is your individual style and opinion that can also flatter your body. And this may be a coincidence, but I personally realized that when I was wearing a unitard, I was booking those castings a lot more compared to when I was wearing a crop top and jeans, just because of how it made my body look slightly different. So that's an additional bonus styling tip put into this video if you want to really put your best foot forward. If you're a model who has really nice shoulders, for instance, and you really want the designer to be able to appreciate your physique, your shoulders, and book you for her show for that reason, because you know that they prefer broad shouldered women or men for their show, then it would be strategic to go and wear, say, a halter neck or something that accentuates your shoulders. If you know that long legs seems to be the designer's thing, then maybe you wear something, or you just go with shorts on to that casting and dress accordingly. And this is something that I learned by going to a lot of castings repeatedly, because the walk that you do is not the same. When you go for high-end designers, always make sure that you research the brand and the designer that you're going to the casting for, and that will give you a really good idea of whether they would want a soft and feminine walk, or would they want a mean New York walk, or would they want a smiley, flirty Miami walk. And trust me, these are all words that are used at castings, because that's actually how they tell you the kind of walk that they want sometimes. But there will be situations where they don't tell you what kind of walk they want and they leave it up to you. And so in that scenario, it's your call. So either you've researched the designer and you have an idea of the kind of walk that the designer would want, but in some cases there are multiple designers in the room. And so it's a case of not one walk is going to suit or fit every designer. Here in this situation, I recommend you go with what your strength is. Me having a lot of pageant experience, I realized that my walk naturally has a femininity to it. And how that actually helped me is, in fact, 3 of the 4 shows that I booked are ones that prefer soft feminine walks and faces. And 2 of them are in fact pageant gown designers. And so while I wasn't intentionally looking to book shows for pageant gown designers, but that's eventually what happened, probably because of the kind of walk I had in castings, and they could visually see that she looks like someone who could carry a gown really well, and she knows the turns and expressions that are needed in those kind of shows. Whereas it will take me a little while to really shift from my natural style of walking and learn how to do the edgy New York mean walk, which I did do at a lot of castings, but I guess I need more experience and practice, and maybe next season I book those as well. Now, before I go in with more things that you should do as a model in New York Fashion Week, I would like to share a personal story how a comp card lying around booked me one of the shows that I have gotten. And so one of the castings that I had gone for had not announced the results yet. I had not heard back from them yet, but guess what happened in that room? I handed over my comp card, and that casting I did leave having a good feeling, because I did see one of the ladies on the table smiling at me. However, she was not the one casting for that show. The person casting was sitting on the other end of the table. However, this lady seemed to take a liking to me, because I could see the warmth in her eyes and I could see that she noticed me, and we all get that feeling once we've done an audition. And when I had handed over my comp card, which was my old comp card, so trust me, my old digitals also got me that show, but at the same time, I just prefer this picture and this comp card a lot more. It's also smaller. My previous comp card was printed on an A4 page, in fact, because I wasn't able to get them printed in the 4x6 size, which I personally prefer. So comp cards can be any size and they don't need to be professionally shot. It's just a preference, and I decided to make that decision this season. And fun fact, that comp card was made in such a rush that my contact details, I had to write them down with a pen on the back of the comp card. And so she found me on Instagram, because I did write down my Instagram handle on the back of the comp card, and she left me a voice note speaking about how she's the CEO of another modeling agency and she's casting for another show, which turns out to be making pageant gowns, and she felt that I could be a good fit. And so she took my comp card and forwarded it to the designer of that brand, who was not even in that room. And she had booked me for a go-see. Now, a go-see is basically a callback of sorts, where you go and see the designer and they see if the garments look good on you and if you can actually walk. And so I went over to the showroom between castings. Trust me, there was just a lot going on the last few weeks. And when she saw that I was able to carry the gown well and I could look nice in it, and I knew how to walk in a gown that heavy, and it has a cape and everything, and it's gorgeous. And so I was able to get selected for that show. So that show is in fact one that I never went to the casting for that show. In fact, I don't even know if they held castings. But because my comp card was lying around, somebody noticed it, forwarded it to the right person at the right time. I was able to pick up that phone call at the right time, be available on that date. That's how I booked that show. The 3 other shows that I booked have all been booked through castings that I found on social media, by following the hashtag or by broadcast channels. And that was a happy coincidence, and I'm glad that those castings got me booked. However, more than actually getting booked, one of the most rewarding parts of this experience of New York Fashion Week is the group of models that I've been able to network with. I have met models that are casting for Paris Fashion Week while living in New York and putting in the work in themselves, flying overseas to walk in Paris, to walk in Milan. I've met models of different ethnicities, from Venezuela, from Argentina, from Brazil, and just so many different countries. I have also met models who are 15 years old all the way up to 40 and 60-year-olds, and the rush of adrenaline that you see in New York Fashion Week, and you see ambition in all ethnicities and all age groups, is so infectious. However, my experiences taught me one thing. If there's one thing in common in all of the models that are booked, that are seasoned professionals, is that one, they are always punctual. And this is something you need to know if you're going to be going for open calls or castings. If the time is 2 p.m., most professional models are going to reach there at 1 p.m. And so there is a reason the lines are that long. And it's just common sense to show up an hour or 30 minutes before a casting, especially if it's a casting that you are expecting a lot of people to be at. Just earlier this week, I was in a casting line where I had to stand in line for 4 hours to be able to finally walk, and I did not even hear back from that casting. So things like that do happen. Besides being punctual, another key tip that I received while standing in casting lines is that whenever you show up for a casting, make sure that not just is your dress code appropriate, but also that your hair is tied up. And this is something that I did not know earlier. What I had not realized is that while they prefer soft and feminine walks for some designers, keeping your hair open is great, but avoid having your hair open when you're going for high-end designers and luxury designers. They always want to see your face. And if you have short hair, then you tuck it behind your ear. And if you can, you always tie your hair up. Now, don't make it messy. Obviously, make it like a sleek bun or a ponytail. But they always prefer tied up hair. And this is something I did not know. You also have to have good hygiene. Have your nails basic painted nude or a French manicure, so that you are ready for the fittings and the show. Work on your fitness, and also make sure that you don't have any crazy hair colors, because that's something that I did observe while going to castings. There were so many models with pink or platinum or red hair, and sometimes casting directors would tell them that while this is a great look for you individually, it could restrict a lot of the shows that you could get casted for, because your hair color would be a conflict. So having really big tattoos sometimes, or an unusual hair color, can stand in the way of you booking that show. While I was glad that I was able to book 4 shows this season, even if I had not, I probably just would have been so thankful for the learnings that I have gotten just by standing in casting lines, because you get to speak with models all across the country and the world rather, with so much experience, more experience than you, less experienced than you, and just how the industry works differently. But most importantly, it was a big eye-opener for me for the New York City market and industry. I realized that it's so crucial and efficient to find where you fit in the industry. While I did get selected for so many pageant gowns, but I also realized that I am great for commercial and print and lifestyle and jewelry brands. And so that's probably going to be my thing. And so I should aim for projects that actually prefer the look that I have and, the proportions that I have. And it's just been really informative. I also got to know about so many runway walk trainers, because a lot of my colleagues also trained with them. That's something I'm looking into doing as well, because I realized that one of my colleagues who was not so good at her runway walk, she took just an hour of runway walk training with a coach and was able to book 4 shows after that. And that's a huge conversion rate on the number of castings that she had been attending. So I absolutely love to see the outcome and the transformation happening. And there's just so much learning that happens just by standing in these queues, putting yourself out there, showing up in the city. People travel to New York from across the country to be a part of this fashion week. And so I'm glad that I just got the opportunity to do so. And the fact that I booked 4 shows. So I hope that this video was helpful and informative and that you learned something from it, and whether you can implement it in your own industry, or if you're going to be casting for New York Fashion Week. If you've also done that this year, then do leave me a comment below. I would love to meet other models doing the same thing, and this would probably help you in your coming fashion weeks as well. Let me know if you want me to speak about how I signed with 2 modeling agencies in less than a year in New York City. And if you like this video, then don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel and check out the links in the description box below. With that being said, I love you guys so much, and I will see you very soon in the next video. Bye!